Surtr. Surtr, also known as Surt, is the first fire giant and the second being in existence to be born. He is the guardian and ruler of Muspelheim and the fire giants. He is hidden deep within his realm, and is constantly training and honing his skills to be prepared on Ragnarök, in which he will lead his kin against the Aesir and destroy Asgard, where he is destined to die at the hands of Thor and Odin but taking down Asgard in the process so the cycle of life can be reborn. However, it's later revealed to be a lie as Surtr is actually destined to become Ragnarök, the apocalypse itself, but still has to fulfill his purpose in destroying Asgard, while sparing the rest of the realms from destruction. Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, Surtr, Old Norse, Black, or the Swarthy One, is a fire Jotun. Surtr is foretold as being a major figure during the events of Ragnarök. Carrying his bright, flaming sword, he will go to battle against the Aesir and Vanir with his kin. His ultimate fate is to kill the Vanir god Freyr. Afterward, the flames that he brings forth will engulf the earth. Until the apocalypse comes, he guards the entrance to Muspelheim with his sword to keep out anyone who would try to enter. Biography. After Ymir's own birth from the Ginnungagap, Surtr's own birth would directly follow. Hailing from Muspelheim, Surtr would bring heat to the young cosmos, creating the sun and the stars out of his own primordial flame. Eventually, Surtr would begin forging a legendary fiery sword for one sole purpose, to burn down Asgard when Ragnarök comes, a battle that Surtr knows is destined to lead to his death at the hands of the combined powers of Thor and Odin. However, his flames will still be able to destroy Asgard before either of the two Aesir could kill him, and from the resulting destruction the world will be born anew as the cycle continues. Currently, Surtr and the other fire giants remain hidden in Muspelheim and will only appear when Ragnarök begins. Surtr, never sleeping and continuously honing his fiery sword, patiently waits for the time in which he would fulfill his purpose, to sacrifice himself in order to complete a grand cycle much bigger than himself. Surtr does not directly appear in the game, though he is first referenced when Kratos, Atreus, and Mimir visit Muspelheim. Later, Mimir recounts the Surtr story, and tells of roles Surtr and the fire giants are expected to play in fulfilling the prophecy. Surtr's sword remains in Muspelheim, and later calls out to Kratos and Atreus to take on the realm's trials. Successfully completing each trial rewards Kratos with materials and new gear to craft. Andvari reveals that Surtr requested some of his soul leaders to be given to him in Muspelheim, a request that troubled him deeply, fearing the reasons why Surtr would use such creatures. God of War Ragnarök. When Atreus discovers Surtr's shrine in Muspelheim, he and Angrboda discovered the real story about the fire giant as well as his true destiny. At some point, he meets with a female Jotun named Sinmara. After the two worked together to fight off several enemies, they immediately fell in love and married each other. From this love, they would combine themselves into a destructive and monstrous creature, Ragnarök, which is destined to destroy Asgard while leaving the rest of the realms intact. After Brok was murdered at the hands of Odin, Freyja decided to set Ragnarök into motion. Since they needed their own armies to battle against Asgard and its forces, Kratos and Atreus decided to go and find Surtr in Muspelheim, while the others went to the other realms to recruit its inhabitants, with the exception of Jotunheim and Nibelheim. When the duo reached Surtr's forge in Muspelheim, Surtr is seen forging a sword, apparently having had forged thousands of swords as they are seen throughout the forge. When Kratos and Atreus approached him, he attempts to make them go away by knocking them back with a powerful force and sending several Draugr and two soul leaders at them, to avail. When the duo gets back into the forge, Surtr initially didn't want to help them, as he knows that them along with himself will die, and despite Atreus' insistence to join with Sinmara in order to be together, the fire giant reveals that they are together as he has her cold heart while she has his own heart. Despite Kratos' warning that Odin will prevail if he didn't help, Surtr refused to sacrifice Sinmara, even though he agreed that Odin should die. However, he eventually decided to help them when he noticed the blades of chaos. He immediately sensed the primordial fire from within the blades and imbued them with his fire. He then tells them that by combining the imbued blades with Sinmara's frozen heart it will turn him into Ragnarök, but insisted that Sinmara shouldn't be involved as well. Surtr proceeded to lead Kratos and Atreus to the spark of the world, the place where the primordial realms meet. Along the way, he turns himself into a glowing orb, as he claimed that it is better than walking. When Kratos asks him on what awaits at the spark of the world, Surtr answers that there is magic and all things primordial related there, and that with primordial magic, the blades of chaos, and his heart, he'll grow to giant size in which he becomes strong enough to smash and destroy. When Atreus asks Surtr on what will happen to him if he changes, the fire giant is unsure but claims that he'll not be himself again. Upon reaching the spark of the world, he went ahead of the duo. When they catched up, Atreus once again asks him if they should tell Sinmara, only to be refused by Surtr, since it might cause her a lot of pain. He then makes Kratos and Atreus promise to stay away from her, which Kratos agree. Upon reaching the end of the path, Surtr, knowing that his time has come, proceeded to extract some primordial fire magic and imbues the blades of chaos with them, which caused some pain to both Surtr and Kratos. The fire giant then instructs the Spartan to combine his blades with Sinmara's heart in order to get Ragnarok. Following Surtr's instructions, Kratos stabs his blades into Sinmara's cold heart, which caused Surtr to fall off the edge, sacrificing himself in the process. While he was transforming, Kratos and Atreus were ambushed and attacked by the Valkyries Hrist and Mist, who have been sent by Odin. After the duo killed them, Surtr, who is not seen but has fully transformed into Ragnarok, introduces himself in a bellowing and thundering voice. When Atreus asked him for help in attacking Asgard, Ragnarok responded that he awaits the call, allowing Kratos and Atreus to use the Gjallarhorn to summon him when ready. During the final battle against Asgard, Ragnarok emerges but was immediately attacked by war machines imbued with Bifrost energy which attempted to halt his advance. However, Sindri was able to destroy them all with little effort, allowing Ragnarok to advance with his sword. However, as the inhabitants of Midgard were forced to fight for Odin, Freya and Freyr attempted to slow Ragnarok to buy their allies enough time to evacuate them. After Odin's death, Ragnarok appears and thrusts his sword into Asgard, with Freyr stalling it enough for his sister and allies to escape, sacrificing himself in the process as Asgard gets destroyed. Personality. Despite not appearing in the game, Surtr is described by Mimir as dogmatic, selfless and patient. He willingly continues upon the path prophesied for him so that the cycle of death and rebirth can continue, despite knowing this will end with his own death. He never sleeps in Muspelheim, always honing and training with his sword to be ready for his part in Ragnarok. When Kratos, Mimir, and Atreus meet Surtr in person, however, Surtr has lost his resolve to carry his role in the apocalyptic war. This faltering resolution stems from the fire giant's love for Sinmara and want to protect her from dying during Ragnarok. He regains his resolve when he realizes that Kratos' blades of chaos, if imbued with Surtr's primordial fire, combined with the icy essence of Sinmara that Surtr carries from having exchanged hearts with Sinmara, would let him transform without sacrificing his love. Surtr is also aware of how much Sinmara loves him and knows she'd be devastated if she knew he was sacrificing himself during Ragnarok. To counteract this, he requests Kratos' group to leave Sinmara out and not tell her what is happening, defending his request by explaining keeping her ignorant is less emotionally painful than telling her. After transforming into Ragnarok, Surtr loses his ability or willingness to reason and is focused on obliterating Asgard no matter who dies in the process. Appearance. Surtr is described as a tall male humanoid figure made of volcanic rock and ash. He appears to wear no clothes but has a part of his face that resembles a beard and his veins and eyes glow like fire. His heart is made of ice due to that it is the gift of his beloved. After becoming the Ragnarok Surtr, he becomes a hulking giant that seems to be combined of fire and ice respectively. Powers and abilities. As the ruler of Muspelheim, the first fire giant and the second being to exist, Surtr is an extraordinarily powerful being. Surtr's might is described as being so great that only his brother Ymir surpasses him, although likely very slightly, and is possible that he far surpass him now due to his constant training, and during Ragnarok, he will be capable of fighting both Odin and Thor, the most powerful of the Aesir gods, at once. Although such a battle is said to result in his demise, his flames will be strong enough to raise all of Asgard in the process. Immortality. Unlike most Jotnar, Surtr is most likely immortal, as he has lived for countless generations within the realm of Muspelheim ever since his creation and existence. Superhuman strength. Surtr most likely has astronomical levels of superhuman strength. His strength surpasses even the strongest of giants, Starkr, Jormungandr, Fenrir, and appears to be a superior even with the most powerful of Norse gods, such as Odin and Thor, since it took their cooperation in order to kill him. Even upon his death, Surtr's strength will carry him to his most pivotal role in Ragnarok. Superhuman durability. As he is said to have resided within Muspelheim ever since its creation where realm was ultimately red-hot, Surtr must have immense level of durability. After millennia of training, his durability must be magnified immensely and allow him to stand against two of the strongest Aesir gods Odin and Thor, although he ultimately falls. Superhuman stamina. The fact that he never sleep in his life, Surtr must have limitless stamina as he constantly trains for centuries without any break, in order to prepare himself for Ragnarök. His stamina will allow him to stand against the full might of Asgard when Ragnarök comes. Pyrokinesis. As the first fire giant, Surtr naturally possesses great power over his element. His existence breathed warmth into the cosmos, as he used his primordial fires to birth the stars themselves. Surtr's Jotnar shrine depicts him forging a great blade of flame, which will eventually be used at the twilight of the gods. He can also sense primordial fire within the blades of chaos, which are powerful enough of Surtr to become Ragnarök. Magmakinesis. Surtr can also control magma. With a touch of his hand he was able to melt a gigantic iron gate. Smoke mimicry. Surtr can transform his body into smoke and ash and maintain his consciousness while in this form, granting him the ability to fly and teleport, which he claims is far better than walking. Master combatant. Surtr is described as a true warrior and hero that is, ever honing his fiery blade, by Mimir. After many centuries of life centered around one purpose, Surtr's skills as a fighter are undoubtedly legendary. Despite losing and dying in battle, Surtr will be able to fight simultaneously with Odin and Thor, the two strongest Aesir gods and extremely skilled combatants on their own. Weapons. Fiery sword. According to Mimir, Surtr forged a legendary fiery sword which holds the power to destroy Asgard when Ragnarök approach. This sword is stated to be one of the strongest weapons among all realms, rival or possibly even exceed weapons such as Mjolnir, Gungnir, Leviathan axe, or Blades of Chaos, since it's Surtr's self-created weapon.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.